Today we're going to take another look at the Tier 8 Pan-Asian light cruiser Sejong. And we've got Azur Harbin at the helm, one of the new Azur commanders. I'll put the build on the screen here. And as you can see, most of the skills are geared toward buffing the torpedoes. In fact, all of them. The only exception is, in this battle, I was running fully packed for the extra consumables, but you could also run the legendary skill that is focused on buffing the torpedoes. Of course, if you don't have Azur Harbin, because she does cost money, then the other obvious choice would be Chen. As you can see, not all of his skills buff the torpedoes. We've got Ingenious in the first row and a skill in the second row that reduces the detectability time of the detectability range rather of the cruiser a little bit more. So, is Azur Harbin a straight up upgrade? That is the question I endeavored to answer in this video, and we'll answer it pretty quickly here because this battle is frankly pretty good. I played it on my stream Sunday. Those of you who missed it are in for a treat. This is very high damage in the Sejong and a great example of using the torpedoes on this ship as the primary armament. Speaking of the torpedoes, with Azur Harbin, I'll give you the stats that I have on the torpedoes. We've got a 98.8 second reload, 13.2 kilometer range, 71 knot speed, and 18,567 maximum damage. The torpedoes can also have a 0.5 kilometer detectability if you give up fully packed for that torpedo-focused legendary skill, which is called Killing Distance. But if you don't take that skill, the detect on these torpedoes is still 0.6 kilometers, which of course is crazy. By default, the deepwater torpedoes on these Pan-Asian cruisers have a detect of 0.8 kilometers. Cutting that down even more really does mean that when the torpedoes appear right in front of your face, it's too late. They're going to hit you. You'll have absolutely no time to react or dodge. Now, what if you have Chen at the helm? What are the stats of the torpedoes then? Well, they're actually a little bit better in almost all metrics except distance. We've got a 96.3 second reload with Chen compared to 98.8 with Harbin. We've only got 13 kilometer range even with Chen compared to 13.2 with Harbin. And the damage on the torpedoes with Chen, 19,124 compared to 18,567. 0.8 km detect with Chen, of course, default detect of the deepwater torpedoes. And then a 67 knot speed with Chen compared to 71 knots with Azur Harbin. So, Azur Harbin is not a clear upgrade over Chen. I don't think she's a commander that you absolutely want to get. Of course, she's designed for the Azur Harbin, which we'll have to take a look at a different time. That thing has conventional torpedoes compared to the Pan-Asian deepwaters. But anyway, you can't go wrong with a Sejong. You can put Azur Harbin on there for something different, or you can just go with Chen, who is the free-to-play commander, and frankly, you'll get some better parameters in some areas. First blood there against the battleship, using the guns a little bit now that these guys are pushing in. Of course, the Sejong and the Pan-Asian cruisers like it work a lot better when things are pushing in, and the entire enemy flank over here more or less is. They've already lost one battleship, and we're working on Azur New Jersey now. Doesn't seem like he's going to be floating much longer. I'm not sure what's in the cap with him. Looks like a friendly battleship. Maybe it's the BA Tirpitz who is going to come in handy a little bit later on in this video. Azur New Jersey goes down. D7P is the only red left on this flank now. He's retreating. He's got no HP. If one of these battleships spots him and shoots him, he's probably sunk. He's got pretty much no armor to speak of. So, the blue team is going to be able to wrap up the Alpha Cap now, which is good, considering we've been more or less defeated on the Charlie side. Looks like we've got one cruiser, maybe, kiting from Charlie into the Delta Cap, and we did have a cruiser out there closer to the corner of the map, but he's sunk now. So it's just a 5v7. And, well, now a 4v7. And all four of the friendly ships are on this side of the map. It's me and three battleships, one of which is in pursuit of the D7P and has just sunk it, bringing the kills a little bit more in line. It's now only a 6v4, but of course we are still outnumbered. And the logical thing for the enemy to do at this point, now that they're about to secure Charlie, would be, I don't know how they got reset there. That's interesting. Must have been a torpedo that we couldn't see on the screen hitting somebody, something like that. Anyway, once they flip Charlie, they're probably going to be going to Delta. If we look at their last known locations on the minimap, most of the ships, or at least a few of them, are pointed in the direction of Delta. And there's one, it's the Brandenburg. This is prime opportunity for a ship like the Sejong. Most cruisers' primary armament is their main battery guns. And those are certainly usable on Sejong, but they don't have the best reload time for a cruiser like this, a light cruiser with small guns, 5.2 seconds. So I really wouldn't say they are the main armament. Obviously, they can work. They light fires a lot. Only 110 shell hits and 6 fires. I'd say that's a pretty good ratio. But really, the primary armament here is these deep water torpedoes, especially when you use the torpedo reload booster. You can get a huge number of them in the water. And if things are going to be pushing into a capture circle, like these battleships and cruisers here, well, this is a great way to get them to stop or to hurt them as they do push in. We're first forced to smoke up as the Brandenburg pushes into our detectability. Maybe not a great idea. There is a Kronstadt moving in, and I think we are within radar range. But the hope here is that these torpedoes will hit. The battleships, for whatever reason, are clustered up in the center there. I don't think any of them can help me, but for some reason, the Shimanto decides he's going to come out aggressively and launch torpedoes at one of my teammates. I don't think it's going to work out well for him. Nope, there he goes, but in fairness, he does take out the battleship he was pursuing, so it was a bit of a trade we really can't afford. Now we're outnumbered 3-5. But we're going to try to even up the odds with these deepwater torps. We're already at 104,000 damage and counting, thanks to a permaflood on something or another. More torpedoes going in that direction, thanks to the torpedo reload booster. And our smoke screen will be running out in about 30 seconds. So we want to turn here and get close to this island. If we get spotted by these ships, without the smoke screen, it's a lot more difficult to defend ourselves, and we can fall back to the safety of this island if necessary. Brandenburg is on his way back to port. We don't get the kill. We just get double fists. That's fine. A gear also coming in tandem with the Kronstadt. These deepwater torpedoes, like I said, are very scary. If you don't have sonar running, which I don't know if these guys did or not, but they're only seeing these torpedoes right as they come up on their face, basically. And the torpedo salvos against these two cruisers bring them down to low enough HP that it's not too big of a problem for the two remaining battleship teammates I have to send them to the bottom. And if we can take out this Kronstadt without trading a friendly battleship, now we finally have the numbers advantage. Or we did for a split second. The A Gears torpedoes finish off the Vanguard. So it's just me and the BA Tirpitz versus two other enemy battleships, one of which is in Atlantico. Can't remember what the other one is, but they were last spotted with their bows pointed into the Delta Cap, sort of behind that island over there. Tirpitz is pushing aggressively. In order to win this match, we probably will end up having to sink both of those ships, but I want to do things fairly cautiously. We've got 5 minutes left, and I am a lightly armored cruiser with really no ability to protect myself from battleship guns, aside from hiding in smoke screens or behind islands and the like. This, though, is a point that maybe some people should keep in mind. Notice how much HP we have right now. 29,781, and we started with 35k. So we lost just a little over 5,000 HP, and we're mostly healthy to compete in the rest of the battle. I think that's important for cruisers like this. The more HP you have later on in the battle, the more valuable you probably are, because at this point, we can use this HP to be a little bit riskier, I guess you could say. If we have to take a couple shots from a battleship, we're going to have a better chance of surviving it, provided we aren't giving flat broadside and simply get citadeled into oblivion. And that's going to be a good thing, because as you can see, our Turpit's friend here is not exactly the most healthy. He is requesting our support. I don't know what he thinks I'm doing aside from supporting him. I don't want to push right into the cap like him. Of course, I don't have the armor to brawl with battleships, but I do have torpedoes. So, the last two remaining battleships are revealed, one of which is a Zeton. It's also armed with torpedoes, and the Tirpitz takes a gigantic hit, but not before he launches his torpedoes into the water. And they're going straight at Zeton. They better sink him, because, yep, there he goes. Because I don't know if I could sink both the Atlantico and the Zeton. And at this point, we're in a situation where all the cards are really in the Atlantico's hands. There's only 3 minutes left to go in this battle. And the only way this Atlantico is going to sink, he's on almost full health. He might as well be for our purposes. Well, no, never mind. He's on almost half health. And that might as well be full health for our purposes, because I don't think we're going to shave down that much HP with the main battery guns. We have no spotting, so we can't hide in a smoke screen and stay concealed. What we're going to need is the torpedoes, most of which were blocked by the corpse of the sinking friendly Tirpitz or else the Zeton. But 2 of them are able to make contact and take the Atlantico down to almost no health. All he really had to do was not sail toward me in order to win this battle. The only way we really hit him with the torpedoes is if he sails toward us. If he tries to kite away, much more difficult, and we probably don't sink him. At that point, we have to rely on the guns entirely, and I don't think it would have worked. But because these torpedoes are so numerous and so difficult to spot and hit as hard as they do, we're able to turn this match around. I'd say a certified carry on the part of not only me, but the Tirpitz, who actually scores a little bit higher. GG to him. Nice trade there, really, with the Zeton. It's just a shame he couldn't stay alive long enough to secure his Kraken. But at least the 2 of us together did secure the win. So, the bottom line on Azur Harbin, I wouldn't say she's a must-buy. You can certainly make a case that Chen is the better commander for the Sejong. As for the Azur Harbin ship itself, with its conventional torpedoes, we'll have to cover that at a different time. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.